is not a new problem. This is from 1971. 70 and 71, these are the commissioners' meetings for Louisiana Wildlife and Fisheries Commission, talking about the Canada geese that were stopped, and also the effect on the mallards and the snow geese all the way back in 1970. So what they did is they got contingency to fly to southern Illinois, northern Missouri, and saw that these birds were being fed. Legally plant and flood corn on refuges by permits. They also were providing feed where they were actually dumping them out. As you heard Dr. Merchant say, they were actually backing trucks up, dumping the corn out for the birds. Well, needless to say, our Wildlife and Fisheries Commission was up in arms about that. All their birds, they were starting to see where they knew it happened to Canada's, and they said they'll never get them back. This is back in 70 and 71. And they were saying that they were already seeing the impact in the mallards and the snow geese. 1976 to 1982 was what most consider to be the heyday of recent duck hunting in Louisiana. So they knew this problem prior to what we consider to be the heyday. Promises were made. Senator Ellender got involved, he was a U.S. Congressman at the time. Promises were made with the Secretary of the Interior that they were going to cut back on this program. They were going to limit the amount of exposure. They were going to try to rectify this problem. That was in 71. In late 71 or early 72, Congressman Ellender died. So there was nobody that followed up on it. But this needs to be noted that this was a problem, a notated problem, back in the 70s. Okay, now we're talking about not only, this is more in the modern times. This is 2016. It's talking about the whooping cranes. You know, whooping cranes, we realize they've been a problem. They've been in danger for the majority of my life. So they're trying to do some things to control the whooping cranes, try to keep them in an area where they can monitor them and they can make sure nothing happens to them. So what are they doing? They're feeding corn, flooding and harvesting. Well, by doing that, it's getting the sandhills and 4 of the other species of waterfowl. It has gotten so bad that in this report, it tells them for every degree of temperature drop, how much more corn that bird needs to stay in that area where they won't migrate south because of the temperature drop. And that's somebody put a lot of research into that. So they've got it fine-tuned to where they know how much to feed them to stop them from migrating. Okay? And it says right here in here, temperatures alone cannot explain the shifts in the migration. It also tells you there attributed change in land use. Well, that's the biggest change since 1998-2000 era was that they've started the flooded unharvested. So yeah, there's a big change to land use. Okay, protecting an asset. If you had an asset and your whole livelihood depended on one asset, wouldn't you want to protect it? If it's cattle, you want to protect those cows, you want to protect those calves. You want to get them to market. Well, it happens to be ducks in this situation we're speaking of. What we're all concerned about, we don't really care about how many ducks fly back up north. We all want to know how many ducks are going to be in the winter flight that leaves the wintering ground, leaves in the spring nesting ground, comes down for the winter to the Gulf Coast. That's what all of us want to know, okay? Well, if I had an asset, I was trying to protect it, I would keep it as close to the nesting ground as I could. I would try to keep it outside the areas with the biggest potential for harvest, and I would try to keep them in big areas where I could monitor them. Well, if you go on, there's an internet site called Forbes Biological Station. It's in Illinois, and they fly what they consider to be the Golden Triangle. It's Missouri, southern Illinois, They fly I think it's every Monday, they fly, and they count these ducks, they take pictures of them. If you really want to, do your own research, go home and start looking at about November, and watch all the way till they pull the water off these fields, and you'll see where your ducks are, or our ducks are. They know exactly where they're at, and they monitor them. They take pictures of them. I thought originally that they were paper ducks. I just thought there wasn't any more ducks anymore, and they were fudging the numbers. Oh, the ducks are there. Jeff Foyles is, they call him the king of corn. He's from Southern Illinois. He's a coal manufacturer. He runs a commercial hunting clubs up there. This is a podcast that Jeff Foyles talks about Southern Illinois. This is not Louisiana. I just want to show you that how prevalent this problem is.
The major thing in my area, and it's just not mine, but it's more in the country now than it's ever been, and it's getting worse by the day. And I'm just as guilty of doing this. I did the same thing on my farm, but purposely flooding corn and you know, I don't care if it's rice, it's beans, or whatever. When you purposely level it up and flood that for a reason to kill a duck, to hold a duck, you wouldn't believe what goes on up here. I've told Rocky this, but I get a kick out of the guys that are really good hunters, and the ones that say, well, that ain't got nothing to do with it, you know, it's all weather, it's all this and all that. I'll tell you what it's got to do with is when they eat it out, then you guys are going to get some ducks. It ain't all weather. Weather's going to get pretty severe. But we got right here next to us on the Missouri side, I can see it out my front window. I see this every day. There's a big refuge right across from us over here, and all these refuges I'm telling you. The refuge next to me where I hunt on the same river system will hold anywhere from 140 to 200,000 ducks, which 80% being mallards. Okay, and they come right down the river, and you know, they go right to the refuge. On each side of this, if you count from one end to the other, and I'm on the low end, I'm not on the high end here of mileage, it's probably more than this. There is 55 miles of nothing but flooded corn, beans, mostly corn, beans, all up and down through there. And it's not just one club after another. There are 3 or 4 clubs wide, farms wide with this. And it is so ridiculous. That's what most people don't see. And what happens here, what's happened over the years with this is those ducks are in a refuge. They're in there all day long. At 5 or 5:30, they come, according to which wind it is, which way they go, and they fill these flooded cornfields up. I mean, fill them. They're all gone. At 3:30 in the morning, they're back in the refuge. And I can sit out there in the river right across from them all day long and watch thousands upon thousands up and down, moving from cell to cell inside that refuge. They used to, years ago, would get up about 3 o'clock and start flying, especially if you get a cloudy day and you'd kill them that last hour or so. And then when you'd go in the morning, they would just be getting out and you'd kill a few then. They've got so nocturnal to this, they don't do that. I mean, there's guys in these places over here that's got $40,000 worth of corn flooded. They killed 100 ducks this year because they can't kill them. And the only days you kill them is weather days, whether it's rain or snow or wind or whatever it could be. That's the only days that they're going to get up there and freak out, and they got to go eat. And you'll kill them on those days. Now, like this year, we talk about weather. Around Thanksgiving up here, and you guys probably did too, it got, I mean, brutal cold up here. And the river was way up high, and it froze out all those cornfields. Now, of course, a lot of these guys got aerators and stuff, but, you know, and that helps a while. But, I mean, those, and the refuge froze up.
That doesn't keep the ducks there, though. That just gives you a spot.
Absolutely. All that does is a duck flies over and he sees a little open water, you're going to get him in front of you. So these ducks, the refuge all froze up. It's you know, everything froze up. They can't roost in there. So they had to go to the river. And that's what us river rats bank on, is those, we can't wait till it freezes. You know, freeze all that corn up and the refuge up, and then we're going to kill them then. And we did. We had 10 days. It was phenomenal. And the reason being is because they were out there on the river, they were screwed up, and we killed them. They had to feed. Okay, so you know where most of them fed? on top of the ice at nighttime into those flooded cornfields. So weather didn't make them move. So let's just rewind this a little bit, and let's just say let's go back to when I was a kid. Those same ducks that did that, you know where they'd be? They'd be getting closer to you all the time, because most of them would get up, half of them would get up and leave. And it's not just, we're not Mississippi Flyway. You got the same thing in Maryland, that's going on all across it. But that same thing, I just personally think before they get to you, they're so schooled on doing that. When they get to you, they're going to do the same thing. They don't know any different. Now, I honestly believe they find a feed, and we'll feed here at night. That's what we're supposed to do. You know, we're not supposed to do this during the day. Now, let's just say we turn this around, and tomorrow they make a law, and you cannot purposely flood crops up here, okay? Anywhere up there, across the country, make it a federal rule. You cannot purposely flood crops unless, say, the river gets out on it, rain, whatever. I have no problem with that. Whatever God does, that's good. But you stop that same bunch of ducks, them same probably over 500,000 ducks that's in these refuges up here, what are they going to do? They're going to stop. They ain't got no choice. They got to get out and feed. So they're going to go out in the fields and feed sometime and get used to this. So we got a way better chance of making a duck back natural by getting rid of this. You know, and don't get me wrong. I mean, I had 85 acres of 200 bushel corn flooded right to the ear. I purposely made the levees. I purposely got the right corn so that it was right to the ears when I flooded it. And I mean, it was a heyday. You know, I saw it. I mean, 30,000 mallards roost in there every night. And you know, the feds were on me about a year. I said, hey, you made the rule. You made it legal baiting. So I said, I would always ask them, what's the difference of me purposely planting that corn, purposely flooding it right to the ear to bring the ducks in there, or me just throwing a bushel of corn out? What's the difference? It's the same deal.
Yeah.
It really is. So all I'm saying with it is we're smarter than that. We got to do something about this. And I think that's a good start to start there. Now, maybe there's a lot of people ain't going to like hearing that, you know, and I did this, like I said, I'm guilty of it. I did the same thing.
Okay. I want you to pay attention to this slide, guys, before. See this open area behind him? That open area, this is intentionally planted for a food plot. They have corn, and in the middle, they're going to need some places for the ducks to land. Well, if you plant something, there's a cover crop in there. I don't know what it is, but I'm going to use millet for an example. When they start applying water early, they're going to get birds that come in here, and they're going to get some food value out of this millet. And they're going to be up when they're flooding the corn before it gets to the ears. They're going to be able to harvest birds on the millet. So when you see that, we're going to need to know this in a little while, because we're going to see a video, and it's going to show you an aerial photo of a lot of land, and you're going to see where there's crops in the area, and you're going to see some open water in the area. And people won't know, did they harvest the crops in the middle of the open water? What? Some of it may be harvested. We don't know. But we do know, you can see right here from Jeff Stella standing in front of it. That's not harvested. That's planted as a food plot. So we just want you to know that this is information you'll need for a little later. How you said it was going to be a test on this later? Okay. Now, we're going to lightly touch on the laws. The law changes are very intricate, very detailed. We're going to just touch on a few things. If y'all would like to come and talk to us afterwards, let us show you actual line by line what was changed, we'd be more than happy to. What we're going to do now is I'm just going to give you the Cliff Notes versions of it. Okay, the first thing you're going to hear is that the only thing that was changed in the treaty was the word strict liability, word no to knowingly. What that means, if someone's hunting over, prior to this change, if someone was hunting over bait, Mr. Green Jeans showed up, everybody in that line got a ticket for hunting over bait. After that, they changed it to where you had to knowingly be aware of the bait. So, if I got invited on the hunt and there was corn there, and they come as right as a ticket, Mr. Green Jeans, I'll say, I didn't know nothing about it. Well, then I'm not held responsible for it. So it almost made the baiting aspect unenforceable. Because how do you say, as very hard to prove unless you have pictures or someone willing to testify. How are you going to prove who dumped the bait? So the game wardens actually, the enforcement officers actually fought this change. I could say tooth and nail. Okay. The changes all happened in '99. And you heard what I said. They only changed the body of the treaty. And the Migratory Bird Treaty affects all birds, not just ducks and geese, dove, just any migratory bird. But specifically, what we're concerned about is ducks and geese. They're saying, what they did, they're saying that 53% of the wetlands lost in the historic wintering grounds was gone, was lost, and that basically they weren't going to put any money back in it because it was lost. Of that 53%, you know, Louisiana has 40% of the wetlands in the lower 48. So that's saying that basically Louisiana took a huge hit in their wetlands loss. Okay. With the definitions changed, just the way they got things through. They didn't change anything. They left the main framework of the treaty in place, but they changed what a definition means, what a word means. When you go up there and change what a word means, that changes everything. And I'm going to show you how they did that. Okay, row crops to soil stabilization practices. What that means is they can plant corn, soybeans, millet, any row crop, and call it moist soil. Well, if you look, it says normal agriculture planting and harvesting for waterfowl. That's the way that, even with the change, was the way it was supposed to be. They can plant row crops, but it's still supposed to be harvested. Well, we're going to show you a little bit how they get around that too. Okay, they removed the word corn out of the definition of baiting. That wasn't just luck. They intentionally went there and pulled the word corn out of it. See where it says shuck, corn, wheat, or other grain? That's pulled out. It's not in there anymore. That might have been on purpose as well. They removed water from the enticement as a form of manipulation. So now you used to not be able to flood corn as a form of manipulation and enhancement. It's not anymore. So if you're going to kill waterfowl, you're going to need water to kill waterfowl. Now, if there's any farmers in here, and I want to say we love farmers. We got some really good friends with farmers. We couldn't make it in this country without farmers. But this is different. This is people that's planting food plots for ducks. That's not farmers. So and if we have any farmers in here, they know that when under definition of everything other than migratory bird in this treaty, water is in the definition of manipulation. The only place you don't find it is when it has to do with waterfowl, which is kind of crazy to me. All right, they had to change the verbiage right here, saying that if they didn't change this, the modern moist soil management would be considered baiting. They're saying it right there. They had to change this because once they allowed them to flood corn, if they didn't make these changes, they would be baiting. I mean, this is black and white right in front of you. This is a book written in 1964 called Waterfowl Tomorrow. It's got 102 authors in it, 2 publishers, and these are the most respected biologists, some of them the most respected in history for waterfowl management. They talk about what happened to Canada geese, and what happened if we didn't get a handle on it and be proactive, what would happen to the flight? Well, instead of a warning, we obviously took it as a playbook, because everything they're saying way back in 1964, what they're telling us not to do, is exactly what's happening right now. And these books are about $15 or $20 on Amazon. They're really good reading, and it gives you an insight of duck hunting across. And there's a lot of Louisiana biologists included in that, because we've always been a duck heritage rich state. You know, it's part of us. So It's not something that happened now. This was 1964. This is very important, guys. Habitat. The place or environment where a plant or animal naturally or normally lives and grows. Okay? Part of that's natural. Existing in or caused by nature, not made or caused by humankind. Those two are pretty important definitions that I'd like y'all to remember. Basically, a habitat is where any animal is supposed to live, naturally. And then it tells you right there, if it's natural, it's not supposed to be manipulated or caused by mankind. Black and white, those are the definitions. Okay, we're fixing to get into the programs. These are programs, subsidy programs for farmers. And there's a bunch of them. We're going to show you, there's pages of them. We're going to talk to this one. We're going to pick this one because it's easy to find, it's easy to get the information off of. Okay. Those CRP properties, these properties are put together, and the way they're doing, the verbiage is they're providing habitat for ducks. Okay? Now, y'all just saw what habitat, the definition of habitat is. Habitat's natural. Okay? Well, I personally don't know what's natural about flooding a row crop. That's not any part of it. That's not a bona fide agricultural practice. The flood a row crop. Okay? Here we go. These graphs we're going to start out with. This is 1995 to 2017. Okay, the top one is Arkansas. They spent $530 million since 95. The bottom is Louisiana. They spent $509 million. Okay? That's a lot of money, you figure? Well, let's look. Missouri, in that same amount of time, had $2.8 billion spent. Illinois had $2.7 billion spent in that same amount of time. Let's go to this. Iowa, $5.4 billion. North Dakota, $2.5 billion. Minnesota, $2.7. South Dakota, $1.8 billion. Kansas, $2.9. Nebraska, $1.9. Minnesota, $2.7. Those billions of dollars spent in other states that were historically flyover states, but yet millions spent in Louisiana and Arkansas, part of the historical wintering grounds. They said we lost 53% of our wetlands. You don't think some of those billions of dollars may have fixed a little bit of coastal erosion, may have helped with some of the refuge problems? I think if you took just a small percentage of it, you could see a large impact down here. Okay, this is 2018, this is 2019. What this is showing is the breeding counts and the conditions in the Midwest and Canada. All right, you see all the blue? That's excellent. That means it's best it can be. Red is poor. Okay, look at 2018. Look how much red there was. Look how little red there is now. Look how much blue there is now. Look how little blue there was in 17. All right. The duck count is lower this year than it was last year. So you spent all these billions of dollars in this area, right here where it's blue. That's showing that it's never going to get any better. That is the perfect conditions. And our duck number went down. I personally don't see where a dry agriculture field in April and May has any breeding value for a duck. And that's what has to happen for this to continue to go. They have to dry the property up. They usually start drying in February, get it dry, get it prepared to be prepared for the following spring's planting. Okay? That's not any value to the ducks going back north. So all these billions of dollars there were only spent when it's to be used for harvesting the birds are holding the birds during the winter. Because they drain it when the birds go back. There's no value for it when the birds are returning. Those places are dry. So, all right. We're trying to, all the data shows there's a problem. Shows you what we think is one major cause of it. It's not just a Louisiana problem. I mean, it's not. And we don't know how we can fix the problem. I want to use an analogy here. People tell us that it's the pressure. It's the loss of rice. Well, let me tell you, Arkansas is the #2 rice producing state in the whole country. Their honey is falling as fast, if not faster than ours. So they have more rice than they've ever planted. They're not in coastal erosion. We're hearing this coastal erosion. We're hearing this pressure. I just showed you, we got half as many duck hunters. How can it be pressure if you got half as many hunters? It kind of, use this analogy. It's almost like an adulterous relationship. We're all part of Ducks Unlimited, Delta, all these organizations. We believe in them. If we didn't do that, we wouldn't have the ducks we have now today. Whenever you have all these facts in front of us, we love these organizations, we're part of them. We don't want to believe that there's any problem with the ducks. Nobody could have intentionally short-stopped our ducks. We just can't believe that. I know I couldn't. Well, it's kind of hard to ignore the facts as Mark presented them and as have you seen these videos.
All right, guys, root cause analysis. You can't fix a problem unless you know where it started and where actually ground zero is. And that's where we kind of structured this whole presentation. We've heard for several years in the past that we don't have a problem. Well, I think that everybody in this room will agree we have a problem. So we want you to get out in the duck blind, start talking and say, no, they got something. And if you need to know where the information is, go to the website, okay? But we want y'all to educate everybody around you. Sing it, because it's going to take all of us, every last one of us. So speak out. Speak out as one voice saying some of the same things. We need you to get in the fight. Donate. Donate your money, donate your time, donate your resources. What that is everybody knows somebody. Lean on them. Tell them. Talk. It's going to take all of us. Some of these organizations, okay, which we're not against, and we're against what's going on today. We're against the fact that these facts speak for themselves. So I'm going to turn it over to Ronnie.
The one thing we hear, Troy alluded to this, the one thing we hear from everybody is, well, you don't know how much corn's out there. How can you say it's a problem if you don't know how much corn's out there? They're right. We don't know how much corn's out there. But what
We can't count that high.
yeah, what we will do is we're going to show you a video of one state, just a little research that the Federation has done. But before we go into that, I want to just touch base on one thing. I want to make sure that everybody understands, we don't want just the ducks to come to Louisiana. That is never our goal. We want the people starting in Canada and ending in the Gulf Coast to have their fair share to harvest the birds as they come down the Flyway. That's why we showed you when the seasons got changed. That used to happen. It doesn't happen anymore. And not only are we suffering, the people in these states that don't have the big money, they got squeezed out as well. So it's not just a Louisiana problem or an Arkansas problem, Texas problem. It's a Missouri problem. It's an Illinois problem. But I'm going to take this time to show you right here. This is going to be just kind of like the key to a map. We're going to show you, it's going to be a rolling video. On the left side, it's going to show you how many acres it is, who owns the property, and it's going to show you the outlines of it. See these circles here? That's going to be the next slide where it zooms in, it gets closer. The yellow circles are blinds. I've never seen blinds that close. Never. You want to talk about pressure? I don't care if they move around. That guy runs out of shells, that guy can hand them to him. This whole, it shows the levees, it shows the water control structures, it shows the blinds, and if you see, can you see the crops? You see the row crops? I don't know how good the picture is. There's actually lines here showing the row crops. I can't say it's corn. I'm just saying it's a row crop. We're going to start a video here and it's going to kind of take you through what we've located in the state of Missouri alone. And you just don't tell me that it may not make an impact.